Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of RAERAEs Review, where we, you know who we is. It's me and Aaron. We'll be discussing Southern Charm, Season 10, Episodes 7 and 8. Hello, Aaron. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome,
How is
Aaron.
it going on this fine day?
It's going. Yes, we're moving and chugging right along.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. Chopping wood, carrying water.
Southern Charm. These episodes were quite tasty. Venita's getting her just due.
I know, finally, right? Like, this has been this alluded to storyline, and now we're finally, like, unwinding into it.
For sure. I'm like, oh, I wish it could have been a better situation, but at least it ain't bad. It ain't bad, y'all. It ain't bad. That's just like, first. Well, anyway, we'll get into it. Now, one thing that I wanted to clear up with this was, okay, there are no more people coming in. These are the set folks for season 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because in the beginning, it was like, who's coming? Who's not? Who is it?
Right. I know. Because some people came late to the game. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember there anybody else. And they better not. By this point in the storyline, you need to have introduced everybody. I do not believe there's anybody else coming into the fray.
Because Patricia's friends, the black guy and the white guy, they're married.
Correct.
Professional folks. But we haven't delved into them. And maybe they're just popping in and out, not really.
I feel like they're kind of friends, right now.
Yeah.
They're like good-looking friends, and we did see in this episode that the white dude, I don't remember his name. Sorry, sir, you're not on enough. He mentioned to Shep that Molly was into him. So
Sure did.
Right? So now we see like how he's kind of getting inserted into the plot line. But you know what just dawned on me? And it's such an epiphany moment that I need to mention it before we roll into the episode. You know how I've been complaining about it seems like some of the editing is whack? You know what I mean? That I'm kind of seeing some shucking and driving with production. It just dawned on me that JT refusing to do the rest of his green screens that he had only begun, that the fact that he didn't finish it out, especially with how much of a character he is, think about how much that may have potentially impacted other things.
Yeah.
I feel like we're seeing a little bit of them scrambling because I feel like we're literally seeing some conversations that were had much later in shooting earlier in the season to set up the storyline. And normally I don't catch it like I have been with this season. And I'm going, why am I so critical of production? Like, I just feel like it's real jerky this season as far as some of that. And I do think that because JT is kind of such an impactful storyline of theirs, that might at least be contributing to it. So, folks, for any of you out there that notice this kind of stuff like me, conspiracy theory.
Well, that does make sense since they're always jockeying back and forth, trying to make sure the narrative is correct, or at least the storyline makes sense. And if there's a missing piece, then of course it's going to be off. Right. So yeah, I totally get that. That makes sense. I haven't really caught it all like you have, but I'm pretty sure along the way it'll, come to fruition for me and anybody else, who just now, oh yeah, that's why that, or Yeah.
Well, it started out with Madison and Brett, where they basically took the same morning of them cooking together and cut it up into a couple of different episodes, trying to make it look like that's just how Madison looked every morning when they're making eggs. And I'm like, no, this was
Get
one
her
day.
hair looking all
Yes, and the little
that
beautiful
episode, yeah.
90. Yeah, no, they did that on a couple of different episodes, and I'm like, yeah. So that was how I caught it, and then I am now questioning the Craig and JT initial conversation because it felt like, anyway, and I don't know, just some of their transitional scenes feel weird to me, and that's what, anyway. Not that it really matters that much, but and somebody did a close-up of Shep's text messages to Sienna.
Yeah.
That man is cuckoo.
I'm pretty sure since it's blatantly out on these other. Yeah, I think so, because it's blatantly obvious with the Housewives shows how it just really does. We can tell more so, but with this show, yeah, it does seem a little non-chronological.
Right, and I feel like
but
even the scene with JT and
with
Venita
Sienna,
felt a little non-chronological.
That's gonna play out kind of bad. Because she's not so forthcoming, and maybe it is what it is, but that last scene with them was a little hard to swallow.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into the show, because we're gonna keep doing
everybody.
our ad libs and talking.
Yep. Giddy up. Let's go. I'm ready.
Oh, no. Okay, season 10, episode 7. So we're gonna start with 7, and then we're gonna lead into 8. Now, this is after the pool party housewarming situation where Craig saved Venita's life because she jumped in the pool the episode before and she couldn't, catch her breath. She was drowning. It ain't funny. I'm just saying. And Craig saved her and everything. So she's returning the clothes back to Salley. They're cleaning up. The place looks a wreck. It's like ain't nobody took no trash out. I'm like, wait a minute. Ain't nobody at least dumped nothing. It was just, okay, leave it there. We'll do it in the morning. I'm like, oh, that looks like a wreck. It just looks so nasty. Just the way it looked. I'm like, I know our house ain't nasty, but girl, you just gonna leave. Things left out because you saw the flies. Girl, production is messy.
They were all hammered. I'm sure after cameras went down, they all got schmammered because that's what that crew does. They get super drunk at a bar or a house party, and then they ruin everybody's pH.
Well, at least she had the decency to have it outside, because can you imagine what that would be inside, all that trash and carrying up?
I bet you inside looked just as bad. Or did we see inside and I don't remember? Anyway, yeah.
They kept it outside.
Okay. God. Well, that was smart, because, you definitely...
Anywho, so she comes over, Venita returns the clothes, and they immediately start talking about Taylor, of course. They got to start in. Venita starts in, actually. She brings in the Taylor conversation. So pretty much the distrust with Taylor that Salley brought to Taylor's attention due to her, Taylor, sleeping with the homie and lying to the girl, lying to Olivia, who's no longer on the show. Pretty much Salley just had Venita cooperate what she told Taylor. And honestly, I really didn't think it was that much of an issue, but apparently it still is an issue.
See, and this is where I feel like Leva and Venita were probably, at least with Venita, we know confirmed now by Salley, by this scene. But I feel like Leva was probably in there too, because these little sidebirds, sometimes they need somebody else's problem to get into to have a storyline, So I love Venita, but this is where I felt a little bit weird because, yes, she lied to her best friend Olivia, but she didn't lie to you. And she didn't lie to, and yes, it's a maybe a mark on her character, but I don't like to be friends with people that are kind of judging me or keeping score like that, because we all make mistakes, we all do whatever. And especially
Yes.
if you didn't lie to me, for me to then go on and tell new people entering the group that you're not trustworthy, get out of here. I'm a little bit like, y'all need to get off the self-righteous bench, because, things are about to get, just wait, Venita. Leva stays a lot out of the trouble because I don't know how messy she gets on Southern Hospitality. Half of me wonders if I need to start watching that show, but anyway, I do think that it's a little mean girl to act like Taylor's mistake with Olivia is now your right to influence her reputation.
And it was so last year. Like,
yeah,
Olivia didn't hear anymore. She's really into her man. She's not even really
she's
talking
engaged.
to Austen, if any. So I'm like, why even? And I would love to hear who told Salley that.
And let's go on this train here for a minute, where we kind of get real about Salley, your favorite person. Why does Salley need to know not to trust Taylor? Why doesn't Taylor need to not trust Salley, who was with her dude, and is now with the one she's dating? Why are you warning Salley about Taylor? Why aren't you maybe sticking to your friend that you've known and seeing how this bird plays out first?
I wonder if a guy told Salley that.
I think
they love to be in the business too, just like,
They do, but I just feel like, especially after the way Venita explained it, she was acting like, well, of course we told Taylor trust had to be earned back. We were clear about that. You know what I mean? She was very justified in the fact that she told Salley that. And I thought to myself, this is kind of the wrong take. You don't even have a Bible to thump on, but you need one. This is the way I see it. And I don't necessarily love Taylor. I saw a woman who thought she was going to marry someone, put a lot of time and investment into them, joined a show, got into the mix, right? Who then broke up and acted a fool and made out with man whore Austen and tried to cover it up, but then Austen decided to steal the spotlight and do all right. So then work and play got all in the mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then people just sat on the sidelines like they've never done anything and judged the hell out of Taylor, who's clearly, another thing, not doing that well because she's still deep in grieving. So she's not my favorite person, but also give her a break. Salley, you got to earn your way in, ho. You do. And it's not, and I've been on her side, but I find that this is the angle that's coming from Venita and the gang to be mean girl.
Yeah. And I think, and I know we have this difference of opinion regarding Salley Gaston situation, but to me, it adds to how manipulative Salley is, saying that to Taylor, continuing to have these conversations about a girl that obviously she is not friends with. She's just a co-worker to. And I don't know, it's like she's trying to gain as much info on Taylor to use it against her, just like she did when she told Taylor, well, I was told not even to trust you. They don't trust each other. Just like your point earlier, there is no need for Salley to trust Taylor or have that, because they're never going to be friends.
And you know what? I actually am leaning more towards your side with the Salley, not necessarily Salley Gaston, but the credibility of Sally's character.
Credibility. There you go.
The credibility of Sally's character, because I watched Austen recently. Now hear me out. On Chicks in the Office, he just did an interview, and he said that when they asked his opinion on Salley, he's like, Shep got hit up by her in his DMs, and he showed it to Austen saying, look at this hot piece of whatever that wants me or whatever. And so Austen feels like it was very obvious from the jump, especially the way she didn't even let Shep spend the night after she banged him, that she did it to get on the show. that she was working the angle because that she wanted to join. And
Mhm.
I honestly, especially with the way she's already moving, kind of really buy that. Because why would you have a $400,000 job that really could be your whole career unless you really wanted to be a reality star?
I mean,
That's the kind of money that like you can't even get being on this show unless you've been on for like several seasons because it Bravo doesn't pay like they used to, period.
yeah, it'll be a what I say, drop in the bucket for her to be on the show. It's non-competing. It's something that she doesn't have to rely on. Oh, cool! I can just be on the show. I already have money. Yada yada yada. Yeah, it's like hit or miss. But that like you said, when you brought up the word credibility, that's exactly what I mean with her. Like, girl, the things that you're doing and saying really doesn't put you in the best light for what you're trying to portray. She's trying to portray that she's unbothered, but she clearly is because she keeps bringing up folks that she don't even need to discuss.
And I'm really tired of her saying, I don't want to hurt Taylor. Bitch, you don't care. Stop acting like that. You wouldn't be talking about, yes, you have, and I'll stand by this. Salley has every right to talk about her relationship with Gaston and how much of an F-boy he was in it. And how maybe he led her to believe they were saying, I love you. She thought this was her person. True. We know so many men that like choose to date like a dog until they don't, and they don't want to be called out on that. So like I get it, but at the same time though, don't act like you care about Taylor. Y'all have peed in each other's pool to the level that's crazy. It's like sometimes you come on this show strong arming the situation like I've hooked up with all the same dudes you have and I'm your competition and you can't handle it. I'm like, you're too new. You need to back off. I don't like this energy. Calm down, Salley. Just because you hoed around Charleston doesn't mean you need to be on the show.
And speaking of Gaston, he visits Taylor. Just a quick little 1-2. Mm-hmm. And she tells him about what Salley said, and he's just so not interested. He's like, girl, I think we've already, I don't know. It seems like Taylor just wants to make conversation, but I think she knows that talking about that woman to him, just because it's him, not that I can't say Salley, but just because she's talking about that woman to Gaston, I don't think it really lifts Gaston to say anything about it. He didn't say nothing. He was like, oh, well.
I think he doesn't. Well, I think it's like obvious to how it's been, period. He doesn't want to, his approach to dealing with like the Salley situation is, you don't pay me, I'm not doing it. I don't want to talk about my ex. I'm in a committed relationship with you. I haven't cheated on you. Like maybe we overlapped in the beginning, whatever. But like right now, we're in a solid relationship. And he's basically trying to avoid what a lot of reality shows do to relationships, right? Which is destroy it.
Right. With some old work.
Because it doesn't matter. Like Salley, he could have been a jerk to you. I believe it. And I will let you do that. But the more that you're dating Taylor's ex right now, Ponytail Man. You know, like stop talking. We're at a point now where like you can let it be that he's choosing to be in a relationship with Taylor. And you don't need to remind everybody that he did you wrong. You just don't, because you did it enough. And you're sleeping with her dude, old dude, whatever. And get a new storyline. Yeah.
Well, speaking of new storyline, Shep, Craig and JT, they go fishing. And JT's first time, he's, more of a wuss according to these big gorillas in the midst. They just can't believe that this dude that they've known or know of has never been fishing or is squeamish about, putting fish on the hook. Listen, not everybody want to do all that.
I don't want to hurt the little fish. I don't want to hurt the little fish. I don't want to hurt the bait. I don't
want to touch it. Like, do I have to touch it too? Where are the gloves? I mean,
Yeah. No, they want you to like put it through. No, they want you to hold it and pierce its face. I don't want to do that.
Listen, everybody, but he did it. He threw something overboard. He was a complete folly on the boat, But he was just enjoying some bonding time. He felt as though JT, needed to be around the guys. So hopefully this will turn a page with everything. But then Craig was like, Austin's upset that they're going fishing. But then the captain's name is Austin.
Yep.
Ain't that nothing? But yeah, Austin's upset because they're hanging with him, and Austin's kind of being a bitch about it. Sorry, not sorry. Like, dude, people can have friends, and not everybody has to be on your side of things. But
well, they brought JT back to the show. People have to interact with him, otherwise they, and that's where we get into the weird world of coworkers and friends. And on the other hand, Austen genuinely views Craig and Shep as his friends, and he views JT for sure as a coworker. And he also knows that overreacting to it is good for the show. But what I totally thought was stupid is how that's honestly a great picture of them with the big ass fish. It's a really cute photo op. Like, you can't deny. And for him to be like, and you rubbed it in my face, no one cared that much. They had to shoot with JT. This is their coworker. He's trying hard to get back into their graces. And Shep loves to be magnanimous in that sense. Because Shep's a faster one to forgive some of this stuff than the others, and they need to get on board. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So no, Austin, it wasn't about you. So that's where you're right, being a bitch about it. Where I was like,
self-centered.
Yeah. Self-absorbed, yes.
All that. Mm-hmm. Just he's about self. And if it's not pleasing to him, it's a problem. Talking about Austin. Like, dude, really? Get over yourself. You're not all that. But I remember when he first came on the scene, Shep was upset because Austin, I never forget that. That was the first time I said, oh, what's going on? And then that's when I started to see how Austin was just, trying really hard to be seen. And then it just kind of just turned into him being on the show and fast forward. So he's always been like this, according to Shep, from my understanding.
Yeah. Austin's having a really interesting season for me because, like, for quite a while, it's been very easy to kind of like semi-loathe him, right? Because he's just been this like self-centered little twerp, like, just really out for himself without much to show. I will say, I think that one thing I do feel about Austin now is that he's tried to kind of stand by Shep and Craig throughout all of their messes too. And so he's earned a spot in the trio as like a legitimate friend and like contemporary, right? Especially because him and Craig just opened this restaurant and stuff like that. So I sometimes feel like Austin gets this like and rightfully so, but like less than status, right? And I think though that he's actually kind of leveling out with all three of them, and we're watching how all of them are reacting to dynamics change. Yes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because look, Austin's a stable one right now. He has a young as hell girlfriend. He's opening a business. He is.
He's more stable than Shep.
100.
How is Shep less stable?
He's still drinking. I'm not talking about just financially. I'm talking about like in general. Like Shep's not conquered his demons about drinking and whatnot. He's about to get completely played by this girl Sienna, and I don't think that ship's necessarily righted itself. So even now, I think Shep's still trying to figure it out. Whereas like Austin just opened the restaurant with Craig. He's still got the same girlfriend that he had on the show, and he's kind of, working on getting his beer line into more places now, finally.
I thought Austin was doing some substance stuff.
Well, I think all of them were.
Yeah.
And I think that when Craig was talking about Zannied out, I think he was basically meaning that that's how Austin was recovering from a night of partying. And I think Shep too, and I think Craig, because they've all,
Yeah.
So, but until, and I'm not like excusing, like I think yes, but like I don't think that Austen has necessarily had the issue that Craig and Shep have had, though.
Okay.
And maybe it's better hidden and we'll see it come out. But it seems like, you know, he's not having the ragers that the other two were having. But, you know, that could come to the surface next season, that like he's not holding it together. But like Austen was the one holding Shep together when he was blackout drunk at BravoCon.
Okay, I get it now. Okay. Well, speaking of Austen, he's visiting Whitney, right? At Whitney's bar, that whole new situation Whitney set up.
Speaking of substances.
Okay, and then Madison comes over so they can have a bash JT session. You know, she loves a good, you know, bash session. And the fact that she's hanging out with Whitney and Austen, and then references how she feels bad for Austen, so she just really wants to help him out. I wonder, how does that sit well with Brett? Because, you know, he was so concerned about her hanging out with him out in Jamaica, which led to JT saying what he said, which led her to going off on JT, you know, pretty much outing her, and more so than her thinking that he thinks that she wants him. But, you know, I'm a little curious as to how Brett feels about her sentiment on about Austen.
I agree. And I wonder if this is like one of those things where she just tells him like, production made me be the one that brings them back together. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I kind of don't feel like she gives a shit. I feel like this is kind of the fakery happening, you know? But, or a part of it could also too be she doesn't want JT on the show anymore either. So she might as well team up with Austen to like keep us strong, you know, and make sure that they get rid of JT versus letting JT work his way back into the friend group.
And I'm real curious to know, at what point is she and Venita going to talk about JT? Because I remember Venita and Madison being tight like glue. And the fact that Venita is cooing over JT, she's confiding more so in Leva, where we're seeing that she is, versus Madison. But Madison is trying to get rid of I'm just curious, when are we going to see that conversation between Venita and Madison regarding JT? I'm surprised we haven't yet.
I know, because especially if Venita's saying that JT's become like one of her best friends, which I hate that term in reality TV, like, but they were spending a lot of time together, especially when they were neighbors. Like, why wouldn't Madison be saying to Venita right out the gate, like, you know, or where's the confrontation? Because she sure as hell confronted Craig. So you would think for what he did. So why wouldn't she be supporting Venita, or confronting Venita, saying, don't hang out with him anymore, he challenged my marriage? Which is overreacting, obviously. I feel like, honestly, Madison is a little bit of a prop this season.
We're episode 7. We have yet to see a conversation between Venita and Madison.
Yeah.
Just saying. So
I just feel like this season is moving a little slow as far as like interactive stuff too. So anyway, hopefully it picks up.
Really, because it wasn't episode 8 either, but we'll get into that in a minute. So amongst the three of them, the three musketeers, Austen tells everybody that, you know, Craig is trying to buy him out. And, you know, Madison is just really trying to put them back together. But Austen also is, you know, saying how Craig can't take his, I guess, criticism and only sees money at this moment because of his business. Well, that's what Craig said. He's about his business and he's trying to, you know, make that work in every sense of the word. And again, like I've been saying since I don't know how long this is season, Craig is about his business and he needs to keep that going. That's what business people do. They can't stop, because especially in this day and age, you stop talking about somebody, then the business stops. So he needs to keep
Mhm.
promoting himself and doing things to promote his business. And that may take up some, time from the bar. But Austin still can't understand that. And I don't see why.
Yeah, I feel like, and I also feel like too that they're being very insensitive to the fact that like Craig is trying, I think, really hard to have a controlled relationship with alcohol. Like they keep saying he's sober, but he's not. And like, remember how I told you where he and Austin even said this on the interview with Chicks in the Office that Craig, he's doing like the ABV beer. He's doing non-alcoholic or ABV beers. He corrected himself. ABV beer is uh alcohol, like low volume alcohol beverage, where it's literally like a beer that's like a 3.5 alcohol, like like less than a White
Uh-huh.
Claw. So it still has alcohol in it. So like Craig is like, you know what I mean? Like we get it. Craig is really trying hard to kind of get out of the party or social life drinking lifestyle. He's trying to really control that. And I just feel like the fact that they're trying to disrespect his peace when, like you said, he's truly he's in Kroger. Like he Sewing Down South is the most successful brand of all of theirs, and they I think they're jealous of that. And I just think that it's not supportive to not get Craig to try and get him, go see him at his house, go hang out, go bring dinner, go barbecue. Don't make him go socialize. Go to his house and eat dinner. Go work out. Like why isn't that good enough? He needs to live different.
Don't let him get a gym in his house. You ain't gonna never see him.
Oh, nope. And I can't blame him. Look at his pretty ass house. Look at that house. You and
Girl.
I love that house. That's why, like, I really I've never like really loved Paige and Craig together. I kind of have always felt like the way that she'll respond to his vulnerable need for like validation and affirmation a little bit uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Remember how he'd be like, chicken, look at our grill. Yeah. Like I don't know. There's just something about it where I was like, but Craig has a beautiful life for himself and to offer somebody else. What is your problem?
I
I
don't know.
wouldn't leave that backyard either.
Well, since we're still talking about Craig, Shep comes to visit him, right? And they
Yep.
again discussing Austin, just a back and forth. Everybody talking about the same thing, different people, scenery. So Shep visits Craig, right? Discusses Austin being mad. Now, Craig did mention how Paige, kind of helped him change his mind a lot. Well, Paige changes her mind a lot, and she helped him realize some things that perhaps he should be doing things a little differently. And, so Shep is just like, yeah, but Shep's not really getting into that because, he got his own problems with his own girl. Pretty much he told Craig he dropped the love bomb when he was, going mad over her. He couldn't reach her for 12 hours, and he thought
Such a
something was going on.
weirdo. He's such a weirdo.
She went to Africa, dude.
No, I saw a close up of the text he sent her. He's like he's doing the stupid ass shit that he does. Like, I'm thinking of you and I want to have you in my life because I care, and caring makes me a better person and I want to share. Like, no, it was such weirdo crap. Like, I'm not saying she's not a fan, but I'm like, you are bugging out, dude. No. You aimed too high for the sun, and you caught a girl that wants to be on TV and is a fan of the show, and you know that she's too young and hot for you. He's losing it.
And really, what 20-something-year-old really wants to settle down and have kids, especially when they're doing so many things, in the world? She's not just doing so many things.
Yeah.
She's worldly. She's considered top tier. So she wants to experience life. I can just imagine her wanting to do, not just the ordinary, but the extraordinary, and have, something to live to what do you call it? To tell her children one day, that when she was in her 20s, she did this. And she just seems like the type that you would see her not having kids until she's 40.
Anyway, where they're at, regardless, right, where they're at in the relationship, etiquette would warrant that you simply say, she's decompressing from an international trip, right? And
Right.
it's not polite to not respond to a person's text message at some point, right? Like if somebody texts you and you don't even do it for a couple days and you're like, this is an intimate partner, or they're used to that, they're whatever, right? That's not polite. So the other person can feel however they want to feel, but this is what you say moving forward. Hey, like, if you don't respond for like, hey, like not responding for a couple of days made me worry. And you keep it like at a level of we're building communication between one another as we like build this relationship and we're figuring it out, right? You don't sit there and go, I think about you and I care about you and I love you and I'm building our life together. And when you don't respond, it makes me upset. I'm like, oh no.
I would leave you on red also. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
For me and my family, our small circle just within us, like within our primary family structure. When we travel, hey, I'm going so and so, and they'll have, like, if we're flying, we send each other our itinerary so that we can see the time, we can see the place, and when we check in somewhere, most likely we'll just snap a snapshot of where, room number, hotel, hey, this is where I'm staying, and but not just every waking moment, just to give folks, because we're traveling. So just to be on the safe side, we'll let each other know where we are. But just like to your point, dude, calm down. Let her do her. She at least told you where she's going. And just, I don't know if he's ever been to Africa, but I know he's been to Australia, and that's all day travel, if not 2 days or however long it's going to be. So when you're going to the other side of the world and it's a whole different situation, you have to give her some grace and give her some time, like you said, to decompress. Hell, use the bathroom, get a drink of water, just calm down. And it's only been a few hours. It's not like it's been 3 weeks.
Well, I think what happened, if I'm correct, is she flew home from Africa and then he heard on her like from on the plane or right before, and then he didn't hear from her for like a day or two. So then he like was like, where are you? And then like she said, I'm sorry, I just needed some time to decompress from which that's why for me,
hours.
Well, either way, 12 out, a day or like a couple days. Either way, to me, I think we both agree it was a big overreaction of like,
yeah,
you don't like the way that he responded was weird. Whereas like only thing that was warranted at this point was like, give it grace because it's a new relationship and you're figuring it out. If all of a sudden you're starting to get ghosted more than you feel comfortable with, then maybe address it in the future, but like don't flip out. And he knew when he said to Craig, he goes, I just was clear, like whatever. And he was like, and then Craig's like, oh, love, like you can. And getting back to where we're at, right? Craig is egging him on because he's like, dude, you've never felt this way about a woman before. Like, go for it. Like, you're in it. It's like, no, Shep, calm the fuck down. You're doing this because of where you're at in your life, and you're excited because you have a hot girlfriend.
Tripping.
Craig gave him the wrong advice. But I think Shep's gonna I think Shep's gonna eat a lot of humble pie with this relationship. So I think he did need to like totally overreact for someone. I think he did.
Well, yeah, he gonna learn.
Yeah.
So next we got Molly, right? Just a quick little one too. She's talking to her mom. Her mom calls to check on her. She's nervous because she got that tuba thing going on. And like you mentioned, that's when we hear, what's his name? Ryan? Is that his name? Patricia's friend that we were saying that.
I don't even know that.
Let's call him Ryan.
okay. It's fine.
So so she's nervous, and and then everybody shows up. I was shocked. I thought she only invited Shep. I didn't think the whole crew was coming. So that surprised me. But it always feels so good to be supported by folks, and I know that's made her feel really good. Um, uh, it was just not nice to see. And like I
It was
said, that's when
cute.
Brian tells Shep, "Oh yeah, Molly has a thing for you." Shep was like, "Oh, that's great. Yeah."
He's
What?
such a twerp. That's
Wait.
okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. You twerp. You egotistical
What?
twerp. I know. You like pat her on the head, why don't you? Oh,
It's like I'm so used to hearing it. Yeah, okay, cool.
no, right? No, I'm like, no, dude, she's way more your speed than Sienna is, you fool. And I thought this was really cute. Like going to see her perform in the orchestra. Like this to me is like what Southern Charm is all about. Like you live in Charleston. Like some of you should actually, have businesses there like you do, restaurants, right? She
Yeah.
plays in the orchestra. You can now hopefully go see Molly play if you're a Southern Charm fan. No, Shep's reaction.
It was just like,
Yeah,
dang,
very
Shep,
funny.
that was
Yeah.
little, like insincere. It's like, say something else. I mean, he has a vast vocabulary where he could have chose something. But maybe he was a little thrown off, but it was just like, dude, you stopped her the other day because you thought, oh, who was that? In that outfit, walking the dog. Oh, that's Molly. Okay. I mean, it was just kind of funny. But anyway, so the after party. So, everybody, gives her cheers. Yay for the tuba. She also had a solo. That was cute. Again, it was a nice thing that everybody came to see her. The after party was at JT's wherever that was. Was it one of his was it his place or one of his properties? I can't recall.
It was one of his properties.
Okay.
Because he has that little house. I mean, like, JT, you needed to just hang in there. You're so stupid. You got the party venue where everybody can cause a scene. All of it. Anyway.
Oh, shit. So JT, so he's trying to be host and also, talk to Taylor because he got something to tell her. Pretty much, Gaston dated his homegirl, and JT told Taylor that Gaston cheated on her with Salley, and that just sent Taylor off. She was like, okay, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of hearing about my man, my man. Y'all just, don't want to see me happy. I'm sick of this. So then she kind of runs and tells other folks. She's just adding fuel to the fire, just dredging up, putting people in the fray. If you don't want to hear about it, why you keep repeating it? And then she kind of says this thing that I really hate when people do this. It's never been done to me, but if it do, I may have to jump up and get somebody. I hate when they do this. And this one or that, like referring to me as this one or referring to me as that one when we're having some type of adversarial. Ooh, I hate that, Aaron. You don't do. Ooh, people don't do that.
I'll remember that.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
No, not that.
I would be like, who is this one? First of all, see, but Salley ain't me and me ain't Salley. I give Salley a little something for just sitting there taking it, but I think she knew Taylor was, spiraling out, so she's let Taylor.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, it's the smartest move you could make because JT delivered like yet another major blow because it's establishing that Gaston cheats. Like he was an F boy. You can get cloudy about the words and the terms, and you can run around all in and out of the rules, right? He's a good-looking dude, and he sounds like he didn't play with a lot of integrity. Okay, and he's in a relationship with Taylor now. I think the part that Taylor we're watching is I think Taylor was still really mourning her brother, was still feeling really vulnerable on this cast, didn't have a lot of emotional bandwidth, and was like, I'm not going to let you destroy my relationship. It's the one thing that makes me happy in my life right now, and I just refuse. I refuse. Even though it's undeniable that, like, you know, JT is like trying to, you know, it was interesting because, like, I do really agree that he did not need to ramrod it down her throat. You could have simply let her know. You could just say to her, your dude was dating my friend when he hooked up with Salley. So just be wary. And then she could be like, thank you. Don't talk about my relationship anymore and our friendship. It's a boundary. Done. Right?
Okay. But that didn't happen.
No, and this is where he's like a weird little kid. Like when he kept going after Austen, like, and now he's trying to hammer it down Taylor's throat. If I saw someone on drugs or heroin, I wouldn't give him a needle. It's like, stop. That's not what this is, you weirdo. Like,
right. And Salley was like, why am I in it? I mean, I'm just sitting here trying to enjoy the moment. We didn't heard the tuba. We didn't heard all these instruments. Why is my name being in it? But Taylor just went off. Salley wasn't saying nothing to nobody about Gaston until Taylor brought her in it. So now Salley has full reign to say whatever she wants. So Taylor storms out. She mad and pissed off. Hopefully she wasn't too lit on her beer before she left. And Shep said, well, what the hell happened? Shep asked Salley, what the hell is going on? Salley was like, they met. Now this was for me what Salley said. Salley said they met. She did a BJ on him. They started hooking up more. Well, what man wouldn't if you're gonna do a BJ the first time you meet? I'm just saying.
In the car. Like you didn't even have to get a room.
Then she found out he had a girlfriend. She didn't give a doggone. So to me, I feel justified. That was not a relationship. She offered fellatio. He took it. He knew he can listen. Let's just put on. We're all grown.
Yeah, but like,
wait, hold on.
Sorry.
Let me say this part. Just let me say this one thing. When a man gets fellatio offered to him, and he and that woman starts having a sexual relationship, she turned it into a full-on something when he was just in it for the sex. It's not his fault that she started out this so-called relationship with sex. He didn't pursue her. He didn't court her. He didn't date her. She initiated things. Yes, he would come around because he knew he would be getting some plus. So yeah, if he came around to her family, that wasn't nothing for in these days and times. They can go to a wedding with you and not really be hooked up for life with you. Y'all can just be very casual. And he saw it as casual. She delved into it more. So,
if he said I just don't agree with you. If he said I love you to her and he was like falling into it, you know, and in this day and age too, we kind of have to stop. Like, I get it. What she told us was like, whoa, ho behavior. But people hook up like that now. You know, and I'm not going to let him get out of the fact that, like, it sounds like listen, Salley has dropped several levels for me, but I'm still not going to get out of the fact that, especially what JT is corroborating, that he has fuckboy behavior too. Everybody's, and look at how many people are sleeping with each other, on top of each other, hooking up, sexting, like everybody's doing it. So, and so like, that's where I stand behind just two things can be true, you know, with her being so comfortable to say, I was like, oh my God, okay. But I also know I'm 46, you know, like you know what I mean? Like, and not out actively dating or hooking up with people and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I still stand by if he was telling her, I love you, we're each other's person, and he was playing into that kind of stuff, I get that she's a hoe. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, two things can be true. Like, she definitely, I was like, okay, you sucked his D in a car on the first time meeting him, huh?
Girl, you don't know what, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay, no, it's fine. We're both excited about this topic. It's okay. And you know what? It's a healthy two sides of the coin.
Yes.
You know? And we'll see how it plays out. We will. I won't deny, though. I'll continue to give you this. That kind of stuff from her makes me look at her cross-eyed, but
it makes me question,
yeah.
I love you. Like, are you sure, girl? Because if it's real good, you say any doggone thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I'm sorry, you gonna say something else about her?
Nope. That was just funny. That was all funny. That scene was very funny.
Really,
yeah.
And to add to what you were saying earlier, how JT was really trying to justify him being truthful and hurting people's feelings, and everybody was like, well, you don't have to talk about it, you don't have to say it, you don't even have to express your opinion about it, just let people live their life, like Craig was saying, like Leva was saying. I mean, pretty much everybody was just like, listen, do you really need to say that? Do you really need to? Is it that serious for you to express yourself in that way, to upset people that way, just because you feel as though you need to? But do you really need to?
You didn't have consent. She wasn't consenting to being involved in this conversation. She said, I don't want to hear about my boyfriend's past. I don't. From you. I don't want to. And you didn't have consent. And you're acting like you're allowed to beat it into her head because it's the truth. But you didn't have consent to talk to her about it, number one. And number two, you already told her once. What else did you need? Like, what did you expect? She would break up with him immediately? Like, it seems like you gave that information with the expectation of an action because you don't think she should be with a guy like that. Well, we all know that, like, you also like her. So.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the scene? Because I'm all a little screwed up. Was that the scene where him and Venita went outside to talk?
Yes.
Yeah, even Venita tried to get him to understand it's just not that deep for you to, to say these things and carrying on. It's really not. And, really, can you live without all of this conversation? Can you be amongst the fray without having to express your opinion to the point of pretty much destroying someone's relationship? Because, I mean, just because he cheated on your friend, it's just a lot more to it. Okay, someone's past is someone's past, but it would be nice to know what type of things they had going on, okay, if he cheated on her, but if he doesn't feel the same way he did for your friend that he does Taylor, then it's really unfair to him. Because if it don't work, it don't work.
And if he's faithful to Taylor and dating her right now, those two things can be true. He could have cheated in the past, and he could also be in a committed relationship with her. Like, and another thing is, like, like you were saying, you not just almost broke up a relationship, but you just completely disrupted the room, and you kind of broke up the energy with everybody, period. And, like, went after Taylor because you needed her to know something. But, like, everybody was trying to tell you, like, dude, you don't forcing this information. And he does that a lot, right? Like,
those analogies really didn't fit.
No.
It ain't that deep.
No. Nope. That's what everybody was saying. Yeah. Yeah. And, well, that's why JT's headed for a real hard fall, because he's going to get accused of double talk and not being, gentlemanly with his word. So.
Well, I think that was the end of episode 7. And now we are done at season 10, episode 8. Girl, I'm all confused. We're talking about Drag Race, child. My whole mind. That review is coming up later, y'all. Just FYI. But yeah, we are continuing our discussion with Southern Charm, season 10, episode 8, because they all just a bunch of misfits, child, over there in Southern Charm. I'm just trying to tell you. The pH balance, I mean, is anybody new gonna come in that ain't nobody seen before, ain't nobody heard before? I think Sienna was the only one that
came all the way from the Bahamas to get a clear pH.
me. Like, golly.
Wow.
Ooh. Anywho, okay. So we start off episode 8, right? Madison is having lunch with Craig. And, they're pretty much, again, talking about JT and everything. But Madison really wants to discuss Austen staying, with Craig and Austen, not breaking up and everything. But, so they're kind of bonding a little bit over the fact that she was right about JT. I don't think she was right, but JT didn't really help the issue at all with what he started at the after party at his place.
Right, because he's not a liar or making something up. He just didn't have the court sense to shut up.
Right.
Yes.
That's the gist of it. Like, dude, you doing too much. You saying too much isn't really that necessary. Golly. So that's pretty much it with Madison and Craig, and Craig just letting her know, he may have to end it with Austen because he don't see it the way he sees it. And when it comes to business, you really have to be like-minded enough to move forward with whatever plan that you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I think? I did want to make a quick little side observation about this one. Paige has a very successful podcast with her best friend Hannah called Giggly Squad that they came from Summer House together. And I think this is a little bit where the two cultures have very different views on business or like even like podcasting. Paige, it's like her career now off of Summer House. And so the way that she's advising Craig as though he's a podcaster too. Meanwhile, actually, it's really just you and what started out was you and Austin having fun. So it's like, I feel like Madison's trying to remind Craig, this came out of your guys' friendship. This isn't your career or your business. You shouldn't be trying to buy him out like he's like a co-asset person. You should try to fix your relationship because that's what makes people listen.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely.
So that's why I think some of Craig's approach with this is kind of sad.
Yeah, I think they both have a little bit to learn about all of this with their business acumen, as well as separating business and their personal life and just trying to commingle everything. Maybe they should, have set up some type of, I don't know. I'm not really into business like that. I may be saying this out of I don't know, just my layman's mind is maybe they should set up something to where they know what to do and what not to do according to how they do their business. Sort of like you and I, had our conversations about moving forward about things that and the other and how we do things production wise.
Right.
So perhaps they can do that. Maybe they didn't. And so they're winging it, but at the same time, I don't know. Are they winging it or do they really have a set business goal and plan and all that? I don't know, child.
And that should happen. If you're going to continue to invest in it and you're going to make money off it and have advertisers, of course you should have those conversations. But don't ever forget, though, it started out between the two of you with the chemistry, and to walk off with the IP, the intellectual property of all of that without Austen, just start your own podcast like he's saying. You have the Craig brand, pillows, pillows, pillows. I don't know. So, I do think Craig is missing the point a little bit that like leveraging the relationships that you have with people on the show is part of the business. So you have to protect those relationships, versus just pay someone out and think that they're replaceable because you're both TV personalities.
Okay, real quick. They have a business outside of this from what we see, some bars. So
yes, they do.
Why is this so difficult?
I don't know. You know what Austen said? Austen said in an interview with that I was referring to on the first that the stuff that was underway for By the Way, their bar and restaurant was far already in motion when they started fighting like this. So that it made opening the bar together challenging. The opening day. So he's basically saying the reason I got into, because we've questioned this on previous episodes, why would you get into a restaurant with somebody if you're having these kinds of like chemistry issues? And he's saying that was started the ball was rolling on that before this season. We shot this season. So we were, yeah. So there we go.
There it is. There it is, y'all. Tea was spilled. All right.
Connecting the dots.
Okay. Well, I hope they get together, child, because, child, anywho. Okay, JT, y'all. JT calls his mom again. He needs some help. He got to go to his mom again, y'all. Mama's boy, mama's boy, mama's boy.
He sure is.
And he pretty much said he's going to play with his friends. That he's going to, what is it, Augusta, Georgia, to go play with his elementary school friends because he don't fit with these grown folks. And that he thinks he's right and he's justified in how in the delivery of the information itself. But Mama kind of said, well, where's Venita? I like her. And he was just like, well, there's chemistry, but and we find out the but a little later, but there's chemistry, but the mama is in love with Venita. So Venita gets cool points off the rip. Venita been texting the mama. Venita been getting in good. She was trained well. She know how to please. She's a people pleaser. She's a what do you call them people? I forget. But anyway, yeah. So Venita got cool points with the mama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that because it makes me wonder how much she decided to pursue this storyline with him. Where, like, I feel like because they live close to one another and they started hanging out, I feel like she went, you know what? I think I could do a dating storyline with you. I think you could be the one. And I think she started courting him and the mama, being her charming little self, right? Because let's be real, Venita, this is Venita's biggest storyline.
Southern charm. And remember now, I know you didn't see it for that little man JT, but I always said he was cute. I see what Venita's cute. I mean, if he was a foot taller, I'm like, hey JT, how you doing? But yeah, I mean, he's not. He is attractive. It's just his ways are just like he displayed them at the after party in the last episode. Like, dude.
This emotional outbursting stuff where you're like literally throwing a tantrum, like resting on your righteousness about what you know and the truth. That's the part where I'm like, I'm not, you can't drive me home. I mean, like I wouldn't want to leave with the person that came to the party like that, That's what it ultimately is. He's emotionally immature.
Child. Now, speaking of that, now we're going to continue on with Venita and JT because Leva is coming over to visit Venita. And, okay, it's on the tip of my tongue. I need to get this out. What is that when people come to visit you and you are hostess?
Yes.
She is a great hostess. She obviously she went to finishing school. She knows what what to do. I'm not into all the flowers and things, but according to her and Madison, and if you watch the previous episode, when is her and Madison gonna get together? Something going on they ain't telling us. This don't make no sense. This is episode 8, and we ain't seen them even talk to each other, let alone have a one-on-one. Something going on. Anyway. So Leva visits her, and Venita's just being coy, like, I got something to tell you, girl. Something to tell you. And it comes to find out that she's crushing on JT. Venita is into it. But okay, go ahead.
The smartest thing he could have done is to go with her and date her versus whatever he's done. Like, honestly, because she would have supported him during the reunion when he had to answer for all the crap apparently he's yet to do. She could have, anyway, he just, yeah. But they're a cute little chemistry together. So I would have been here for it.
Dang. See, that's when Madison should have been there. She should have been at that scene giving her opposition, and we could have had a little more storyline to why wasn't Madison production? If you listen, watch, listen, if anybody know them, why wasn't Madison at that scene? Don't you think that would have been a perfect scene for Madison to be. Oh,
I do.
Madison and Lev are coming, and she's gushing, and then Madison's like, "Wait, hold up, who?"
Yes, totally. I
Can you
agree.
imagine
Because,
how that would have went?
yep, because Leva's just egging her on like they're little teenagers, and it's like,
Girl.
Yep.
Look at me producing from way over here in the
Well, I
over.
wish they'd listen, because with the way they're conducting these storylines, you need to give notes.
Girl, that would have been a perfect scene. Then it could have been a whole lot more to the storylines other than Shep. Craig and Austen. Because we sick of them. Just like with Kyle and Dorit. Girl, how many more episodes is it gonna be with y'all yelling? Now it's just girl. Anywho, let me get out. This ain't even Beverly Hills. This is this Charleston. Okay, so now we're at the no bra day with Shelly, Sally. I keep calling her Shelly, child. With Salley and Molly. Now, okay, this is Auntie Ray Ray talking. If you got mold in the A cup, put a bra on. I don't care who. I don't care where. I don't care what. If you got mold in the A cup, I suggest you put a bra on that, on both of them. Don't walk around here flip-flopping and flapping and carrying on and acting like everything is cute. I don't like it. I know that's just me. That's just me talking, and that's just me. But I want you to put a bra on them things. Child.
Agreed. 100.
Then they start, getting coffee or what have you, and they, sharing Botox stories, and oh yeah, I got this, girl, I got this. So what was it? What I write down? Looking at my notes, child. Botox, face fillers. Molly got some shaving of the gums. Molly got fat transfer to put in her breast area.
From her ankles and calves.
Girl.
No, but listen, I could relate because I don't need them in my boobs. I don't. I have plenty there. But if I could take some ankle calf fat and put it away from me, I would do it.
Listen, a woman gonna always complain about something. If I can do this, if I can take away, if I can, put more in. That's just how we do as women. We never satisfy. Listen, I've heard Halle Berry complain. Now, come on.
Yeah.
She's been the finest woman since Boomerang. I'm just saying. Wasn't she Miss Missouri or something? She was in a pageant somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, if you don't sit down somewhere and still be beautiful. And then I think recently she complained about always categorized as beautiful, and she's sick and tired of it. Girl, if you don't shut up. Anyway, This ain't about Halle.
Yep.
But yeah, so they're going back and forth, and Molly likes Shep. And I think Sally had to mention she hit it and quit it or whatever the case may be. But Molly's crushing on Shep, my man. How you just gonna try and take my man from me? My man.
Listen, it's the Bridget Jones diary kind of, Renee Zellweger connection. You know what I mean? That's who she kind of looks like too, right? Like that's the kind of person that knows Shep for who he is and still, can appreciate him for who he is, hot mess and all. I wish he would date her, but you know what? There's an illusion to that something might happen. Because this whole girlfriend in the Bahamas doesn't last the whole season, I don't believe. So I think there are a couple of episodes for shenanigans to occur with this fast and loose group. So speaking as you were talking about hooking up,
that'll work.
We're doing predicting.
I like Molly. She's very level-headed. She's about her business, and I hope she comes back next season. I like this group so far. Even my feelings about Sally. I like this group so far. I think they're meshing well, and whether or not JT comes back, maybe we can shoe in more so of Ryan and his husband.
Well, I think the problem. I think the problem is that Salley is giving us a very different flavor, but kind of similar, like Catherine energy, where like kind of a chaotic like girl that's like, kind of messy, you know what I mean? And I feel like JT in a very different way is bringing the same kind of like alpha energy that Thomas Ravenel brought, where it's like he's really convinced of his moral convictions and sitting on a high horse despite being a short little guy, you know what I mean? But he's also, I think, a little too insecure for reality TV. And I don't know. I'm hoping he comes to the reunion, though. I'm like, get it together.
Child, we gonna find out, right?
So I think that, like you were saying, to get back to it, is that the chemistry of this cast is more dynamic, and I appreciate that than it's been in a while.
Yeah, I like it. It's not too volatile, and I mean, this cast never really gets to that point unless it's the guys, really. The girls
right,
aren't
drunkenly fighting,
tearing each other hairs out. But again, I don't know how many times I gotta say this. Where is Madison and Venita's one-on-one? Why aren't we seeing them? Something's going on. They ain't telling us. Got to be, because this don't make sense. I mean, didn't Venita come on due to Madison? Or they came on as BFF. Something's wrong. Something's amiss. Something ain't adding up. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think I am.
You're calling it out right now. We will see how it plays out.
Well, next we see Shep and Austen doing lunch, of course. You know how they do. They always let them some good old taco. It can be any brand of protein, but they're going to do a taco, some chips and salsa. I think Lil Craig came too.
He did.
He made his appearance, y'all. And of course, Shep talks the text with Sienna, dropping the L bomb. Austen eyes bugged out. No, you didn't. I was like, yeah, fool. And then he explained it again. She was going back and forth, Africa to Bahamas, and the time wasn't meshing with her response, and he was upset and carrying on. And Austen really gave him some bad advice, pretty much saying, listen, you can wait a week or two.
See, this is where I messed up. This is where, because we're doing a two-parter, I was talking about Shep's conversation with Craig versus this was the conversation. Yeah, he messed up.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, listen, player to player. You can wait a week or two before. That's what players do. But this Shep is obviously not in player mode. Austen and that was just Shep was like,
I also think it was reflective of how bad Shep jumped on that situation. Give her some space. Give her 2 weeks. In fact, give her a month after you did this. Yeah, like I said, I kind of channeled the wrong energy because Shep, Shep is not reacting right to this girl.
Wait a week or two away.
Yeah.
Shep was gonna be flying to the Bahamas trying to look for her, trying to check her where she at.
He can't handle it.
But that just tickles me so much. Austen was like, "Oh, you can wait a week or two." Oh boy.
Well, I just think he sees Austen. I mean, I think Austen sees Shep for what it is, where it's like you're so sprung, but you're being a fool about this. You don't have, because he keeps joking about how, right? He's like, you have these emotions over a girl you've hung out with 3 times. Shep is building up a ton of stuff in his mind about them that's not based in reality. And that is what I do appreciate Austen is trying to make very clear to Shep. You're building this romance life in the Bahamas with your little, mixed race children, thinking you're just going to, do this with this 26-year-old that is very, like you said, very accomplished. And Austen's like, you've hung out 3 times.
I mean, hey, it must be good. Now, speaking of Sienna, child, the tea was being spilled, baby. Madison and Miss Patricia, of all people, child, she had the tea. She had to let Girl, okay, so Madison come to visit Miss Patricia. She got her bell ringing. Oh, I miss Michael. Every time I think about that bell.
I
Oh,
know.
rest
Yeah.
in peace, Michael. Oh, we miss you.
Pour
But
a
anyway,
martini on the curb.
okay. And she kind of questioned whether or not the new butler could do something. I never seen that before. We may not see him next season. The way she was, I can just tell there's some, like she's questioning him and how he does things. I've never really seen that of her. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I haven't seen all of it, but it seemed to me like she was questioning him as if he may not be lasting as her employee. Child, I don't know. But yeah, so Madison she came to visit Miss Patricia's day drinking child. She had to get her drinks in before Madison got there. So, when Madison got there, Madison brought her own. I tried to drink some of that. I didn't like that whatever that's called. It's like a French name, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it. I couldn't tell you my memory of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But at the same time, I respect she brought a little hostess gift. I don't think I would ever go to Patricia's house without a gift.
exactly. Hello, and not a
Yeah,
cane.
honestly. Or I'm empty-handed anyway.
And it won't be a cane or
No.
some device that'll help her mobility or anything.
Yeah.
Anywho, so they, get a little more comfortable. They get into one of them bedrooms she got, and they just in the bed having girl time, and he brings them some caviar and carrying on. Now, side note, I went to STK and had some deviled eggs with caviar on them to die for. I never thought that's the first time me having caviar. It was so delicious. I can't wait to go back. Just FYI. Have you ever had caviar?
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
that
No,
was
I enjoy it. I do. Yes.
okay. Well, anywho,
On a deviled egg is delicious. Yes.
I'm talking with my pinky up right now. So, so they're in the bed, having champagne, some more champagne because Miss Patricia said she wants some more. And so he brought her and Madison some more and some very distinguished glasses, kind of heavy, I guess, real expensive, I guess. They were very, very nice looking. Of course, it's Miss Patricia. If you know, you know. But yeah, so Miss Patricia pretty much spilled the tea on Miss Sienna, how Miss Sienna approached Whitney via Raya app. Now, if you don't know, Raya is that app where only the exclusive of the VIP, the VVIP, if you will, are hooking up online. And so Miss Bahamas over there trying to get it, but Whitney swore Miss Patricia to secrecy, and she on TV telling the one person that's gonna spread it before she leave the block on her phone. It was just like,
If
oh,
there's one thing that this scene proved to me is that Sienna is in this for the show. Because for her, that beautiful young lady, to hit up that
Whitney,
withered,
girl.
drunk, doddering man who literally looks like a dried out husk. He's so close to being like one of the Rolling Stones. That man is drunk in every scene, slurring. I mean, he looks like he barely eats, never hasn't had water in 20 years. Like, literally, Whitney is losing like the little bit of charm that he ever had. It's like, your hard living is just showing so deep. For her to hit him up, any woman that hits on Whitney is trying to get on the show.
I mean,
I
well,
stand by that.
I'll add to that. Also, she knows how much money he got. So
Thank
either
you.
she's
Thank
a
you.
fame whore or she's a
Yeah.
gold digger or both, because
Yes.
Shep is a 10 compared to Whitney's 4.
Whitney's looks
Whitney's 4.
Whitney's looks
Just
like
on
he
look.
Whitney looks like he smells like 2 days ago.
Yeah. I liked him better when he was always on his guitar and kind of looking
Yeah.
little, with his ripped up jeans or, but
He's aged out. He's partied too hard. He just looks like a drunk old man.
child.
No, he's aged out of like whatever. And so But to your point, he does have money and he does have access. And for that girl to be hitting him up, no. I stand by any woman that is addressing Whitney has intentions.
And also with the intentions, now Sienna's grandma is the president of
Yes.
the Southern Charm fan club of Bahamas. So she knows, and we all talk to our grandma. I'm just saying, who, come on now. So yeah, she has a lot of insight as to who would be receptive to her inquiries. If I'm trying to be polite.
And she had Shep go meet her grandma. Like, he did all of that crap.
He met the grandma already?
He did. He met her down there. Like, she was like, oh, yeah, and Shep was like, yeah, wouldn't you sleep with me if you're a fan of the show? No, he's totally, like, playing into this. Like, there's a couple of scenes they were showing, right, when they were talking about her being a fan and, like, how friendly she was. You know what I mean? Like, let's get together or whatever. It's like, this is very clear. This girl wants an opportunity.
What? See, Shep, you should have came to California. That's all I'm gonna say. It ain't even like that over here. I got my own. I'm just saying. Anyway, well, a digger's gonna dig. And just because she may have some money, it don't mean that she can't spend his. So
it's not like Shep didn't know that this girl was a fan of the show, and he's dating a fan, and there's people have whatever they have to say about that, but don't be shocked if you end up feeling used. That's all I need to say. Could be for real, but don't be shocked, because it's not like she hid the fact that where she came from at this.
Well, now we know. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Craig, he go pick up Shep, right? I mean, speaking of Shep, he gets picked up by Craig.
Yes.
Because Craig needs a little, help. Needs a little help with his backbone to address Austen. Now, Austen's thinking that they're just coming. He's just having a conversation about getting back on track with the podcast, but Craig has something else up his sleeve. Pretty much, Craig is ready to buy Austen out. And he did mention it before, but he's absolutely, certain about doing this. But then it sounds like he has a change of heart during the conversation, because with them discussing more so about their angst with each other, like Craig is, I'm about my business. You have to, work with me on that. And Austen just wants to party more and not be so much about business. So to me, it sounded like they were trying to compromise towards the end with Shep's help. What do you think?
I just don't agree, especially now knowing that the way that Craig's relationship has dissolved. I just don't see dissolving what they've built. I just don't. I think that it really should be more of a, let's try to get this back on track and get our heads out of our whats, especially because the restaurant was already in motion at that point. So why wouldn't you work towards working together better, because you have other business ventures that are already underway too. Yeah. So and it's so stupid to not have Pillows and Beer to promote your restaurant together. I don't even understand, So I just think that Craig was too heavily influenced by Paige, who honestly didn't appreciate the way that the guy saw her either, So I don't want to totally villainize Paige. I just didn't agree with making him an offer and walking off with the IP, because I just didn't think that. I thought they needed to try harder to salvage what they'd already invested in.
Definitely, because if they're, great friends and they respect each other enough to go through all of their business ventures on and off the show, this seems kind of, just a misunderstanding, and just so that they can just compromise versus disbanding it. Because once you start that ball rolling, then the other stuff is going to have that same effect, because you couldn't take time to mend this. And it just doesn't seem that serious to me. I mean, I'm not there, but it just didn't seem that serious to try and buy Austen out, unless there's something else going on that we don't know.
Well, and plus it's like they are on the same show, on the same like franchise. Like that is a powerful brand, and you're gonna make a lot of money off your restaurant because people are gonna go there just like they do for Vanderpump and hope to catch a glimpse of Austen or Craig like out at their own restaurant, right? So you just like they go to Sewing Down South to hopefully have a meet and greet with Craig and get a pillow sign or whatever, like so I think that it's foolish to throw away the Southern Charm relationship because you aren't getting along when you've already invested this much time and energy, and it's the perfect vehicle to promote the business ventures you still have together.
Right.
And so don't be stupid. Work on your relationship. Like it's really like you're saying, it's not that deep. It just requires some better communication, which every partnership that is working together has to get comfortable doing, right? You have to be able to talk to each other. But I mean, do we give Austen any fairness to the fact where he's trying to say, Craig, I can't even say anything to you without you being like, this is my life now, and like running away. I don't know.
I think Craig is misunderstood and Austen's bullheaded.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, or even vice versa. I'm so serious between the two of them. Because I think that Craig I think they both have points. And I think Craig is also trying to say to Austen, like, I think Austen and Shep need to come over for tacos at Craig's house more.
Hello.
That's what I think.
Well, speaking of being a misunderstood bullheaded person, JT visits my homegirl Venita, child. She is crushing. She invited that man over. She's making some fish. Do you recall what the name is, child? It was
Branzino.
Branzino. Never heard of it, but apparently it's
a whole fish. She's making a whole fish on the bone.
I'm like, okay, as I would call it, real fancy, like, real, real cookbookish.
Garnishes, lemon slices,
that, the whole shebang. Shows them her place a little bit. She turned one of her bedrooms into a closet, of course. I mean, she ain't got no kids, nothing else going. I mean, no interruptions in her life to where she would need the room for somebody. So yeah, I mean, hey, it's all good. So yeah, he's coming over, and very nice, casual, and they're just having a good time. Of course, they're discussing the chemistry and everything. And now this is where I was like, wait a minute, Venita, what? So apparently she lets him know, she's interested. And he's interested too. Record screech. But, he's seeing somebody named Allie, and he doesn't really want to mess that up. What? And Venita knows he was seeing somebody, but she was hoping that he chose her. Girl.
This is where I'm confused because she keeps doing interviews where he just popped up with a girlfriend while they were dating and she was surprised. That's what she keeps saying on outside interviews. That's the narrative. That's not what this was. This was, I knew you were dating someone else, but I was hoping it wasn't far enough along that you would entertain dating me too. Because a lot of other dudes would.
Girl.
So this girlfriend he popped up with is not quite such a player situation. Because she's a known entity.
My mouth is pursed up like girl bye. Venita.
A little more storyline-ish.
I've been rooting for you, and you mean tell me you trying to come in on some other girl's territory, hoping that you would give more of a better impression, like girl. Well, maybe she was Salley and gave him a BJ, he would have changed his mind. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm a little disappointed in hearing all this because I'm thinking it's just about what I see on the show. But the info that she's doing the interview she's doing outside the show, like you mentioned, I'm like, girl, listen, what exactly is it? Are you upset so you want to say something different? or did you mean to say something different on this show, or is it what it was on this show? But at the same time, you know, he can't say that he's going to choose Allie, but still flirt with Venita along the way. So I can kind of see a little bit. I give her a teeny bit about feeling like he was playing both sides, but you knew that too.
I'm curious to see where this goes because the only way that this storyline writes itself is if he somehow starts dating Venita and like makes her think that the other girl is no longer around, and then he pops up in a committed relationship again with Allie, unbeknownst to her. Do you get what I mean? Because right now he's saying, I'm seeing someone, I am attracted to you, but I don't think that I would think I was a good person or you would think I was a good person if I tried to double dip with both of you. So to me, that's not what you're doing interviews saying that he was shady as hell and popped up with a girlfriend after walking off the show.
What is it? Because
make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Stay tuned, I guess.
I think that was the end of episode 8. Was that it?
That was it, I think, yeah.
OMG, Venita, girl, you got some splaining to do. Just saying.
Yes. Venita, you got some splaining to do.
Girl. Well, y'all, that was it. We hope you enjoyed our rendition, our opinions, our takes on Southern Charm, season 10, episodes 7 and 8. Now, if you could please let us know where we can find you when you ain't talking with me about either Southern Charm or Drag Race. What's going on with you, mama?
You can catch me on Alexander Rogers' channel. In fact, I think we're going to be doing the Grammys red carpet here pretty soon. Yes, we love award season. And you can also hit me up on Instagram, psychic_ELB, and hit me up in the DMs if you'd like to get a psychic reading.
Please, please do. And thanks again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and share. And we will see you next time. Bye, y'all. All day.